David Linden.
Congratulate the Honourable Lady from Jarrow in securing the debate and offer my support to the CWU in terms of the dispute that they've got with Royal Mail. I've been incredibly privileged to stand on picket lines with Craig Anderson, Councillor John Carson and many others at the Glasgow South East Delivery Office in Fullerton Drive, as well as the Gartcraig Delivery Office. But during the course of those visits to the picket lines, there was one resounding message from the workforce, that is that no one wants to strike. No one wants to lose their pay, particularly during a cost of living crisis, and no one wants to risk their employment. And our posties are striking because they do not want to see a vital service destroyed and torn apart, and in doing so, they want to be paid fairly for the work that they contribute to the service. So I want to speak very directly to Simon Thompson at Royal Mail today, because his behaviour throughout this dispute has been appalling. In the Zoom interview with someone writing his lines on a whiteboard behind the camera are symptomatic of the intransigence from Royal Mail's senior management team. Mr Thompson, my constituents didn't go out onto their doorsteps on a Thursday night to give key workers a clap, only for you to treat your staff like crap, frankly. So up your game, and if you can't do that, then you must resign, because it is increasingly clear to me that you are the biggest stumbling block to resolving this dispute. Now, the truth is that the consecutive governments in Westminster have overseen the degradation of our postal services, and the straw that breaks the camel's back, it may be if this Conservative government let the USO end. Now, currently, it is widely known that Royal Mail are the designated provider of the USP. They deliver 6 days a week, one price goes anywhere, and they deliver to 30 million addresses here on these islands. And that seemingly unalienable fact is now under threat. And Royal Mail bosses have now shamefully approached the British government seeking to change this agreement, asking to move to a 5-day service delivery for letters excluding Saturdays in place of the current minimum 6-day delivery service. And they say it's in order to protect the sustainability of the universal service. Now, we in the SNP entirely recognise the importance of the USO, particularly to our rural communities in Scotland, which are so important, and we will continue to fight for its protection. But I think we need to look more at the obscene profits from Royal Mail, because whilst Royal Mail plan to cut services and cut pay for postal workers, they pay out excessive sums to their shareholders. In May 2022, Royal Mail Group announced record-breaking profits of £758 million in 2021, £560 million of which was promptly paid out to shareholders. And it was only weeks later, Ms Ali, that Royal Mail announced significant losses, alleging they were losing over £1 million a day. And it was shortly after that that they approached the British government with that request to move from a 6-day delivery obligation to 5 days. But the senior leadership of Royal Mail have also used their mismanagement of funds to justify up to 10,000 postal worker jobs from the service being scrapped by 2023, whilst they continue to recruit and retain many thousands of agency staff. So, is it any surprise that CWU members have gone on strike? Because, after all, and some ministers would do well to realise this, the right to withdraw one's labour is one of the most fundamental human rights which this British government is now seeking to deny. And let's be clear, the CWU is in dispute with Royal Mail over unacceptable changes to terms and conditions, an abandonment of mutually agreed plans for modernisation, and in defence of the service that postal workers provide, as well as that imposed 2% pay increase. The CWU are also asking for an inquiry into the mismanagement of Royal Mail and how that would undermine the USO. Now, I don't think that Royal Mail senior management are listening, because indeed it appears every time I tweet something about Royal Mail, a letter arrives within days disputing what I've said. So perhaps Royal Mail's senior management team should spend less time monitoring my Twitter account and more time at the negotiating table with our colleagues in the CWU. Absolutely. Now, the end of Royal Mail, in conclusion, Ms Ali, will exacerbate regional inequalities at a time when the British government claims to be levelling up these islands. And so it is clear that Royal Mail must be renationalised, and a commitment must be made to ensure the USO remains an alienable fact for the postal service. To sum up, in 4 words, stand by your post.